This is the One Girl Revolution podcast, a podcast that highlights the stories of world-changing women and girls across the country. We hope that these stories inspire you, but even more so, we hope that these stories help you to see your own value, your purpose, and your power to change the world through your life. Every woman and girl is a One Girl Revolution. Hello and welcome to the One Girl Revolution podcast. It's your girl, Kate, here. If you've been a part of this community for a while, you know that One Girl Revolution is all about sharing the stories of everyday women and girls who are changing the world through their lives. Women and girls who see a need, who lead with their hearts, and who take action. And today's guest embodies all of that and more. Her name is Melissa Jones, and she's the founder of Girls Positivity Club, an incredible organization that's empowering girls everywhere to believe in themselves, to lead with confidence, and to use their voices and their stories for good. Melissa started Girls Positivity Club out of a simple but powerful realization that too many girls are growing up feeling unseen, unheard, and unsure of their worth. And that needed to change. Through her clubs, workshops, and programs, Melissa is building communities where girls lift one another up, celebrate their strengths, and discover the power they already have inside. When I first learned about Melissa and her work, I immediately thought of One Girl Revolution because I truly believe that one girl, one woman has the power to change the world. And if we can teach girls that early on, if we can surround them with mentors and role models who remind them of their worth and their power and their abilities, we can change everything. In our conversation, Melissa shares how her own journey inspired Girls Positivity Club, the lessons she's learned working with hundreds of girls across the country, and how each of us can play a part in creating a world where girls and women know that they are capable of anything and everything. So whether you're a parent, a teacher, a mentor, or just someone who wants to see the next generation of women and girls thrive, this episode is for you. Without further ado, here's my conversation with Melissa. Melissa, welcome to the One Girl Revolution podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. I love your work and your new campaign and everything. And so I can't wait to get into all the things.
Well, I love the great work that you are doing, and I can't wait to share everything with our listeners. But first, I want to give a shout out to Desiree, who connected us from Dream World.
Yes.
She is so incredible. You two met at an event, and she was like, Melissa, Kate, you guys need to know each other. And so I just am so appreciative of women like her, and I know you and I are the same, where we need to stand together and support one another. And when we meet interesting, amazing women, to connect them with others. And so shout out to Desiree. I'm so grateful to her and all the great work that she does with Dream World. But yeah, Melissa, I'm
Great.
just happy to be connected with you and excited to share your story with our listeners.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I love it when women connect women. And that's really what we're trying to do, even in, One Girl Revolution and Girls Positivity Club, is make that more of a norm for girls and women to connect each other and also to connect them to others who they could also help. Because I think there's such, I don't know what it is, but there is a little bit of a difference with girls and women. Like sometimes can see each other as competition and things like that. And it's like, no, we can all win. We can all do great things. We can all change the world. Like, let's all band together. So yeah, so I love that you are doing that with women and girls stories.
Yeah, and there is so much synergy between One Girl Revolution and Dream World and Girls Positivity Club. And so I can't wait to get into all the great work that you're doing. But before we do that, Melissa, I love in this podcast to hear a little bit about the evolution story of each person, because obviously there are threads that connect from our childhood. I know that you have that, that connect us to the work that we're doing now and why we do what we do and the driving force behind that. So I would love to take a moment and just rewind and hear a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and just a little bit about your story before Girls Positivity Club.
Yeah, so it is the biggest why, like beyond Yeah, I think it's my big why is that little girl that lives inside of me. And it all really started for me back when I was 8 years old. And really, before that, I felt very connected to my community where we lived. I had a best friend that lived across the street. I had other girls that we just lived on the street and no suburb, no whatever. And we just played and hung out. And so from the time I was really young until, that summer that I had just turned 8, I felt very secure both in my home, and I come from a divorced family. So my parents divorced when I was a baby, and then my stepdad raised me pretty much from the time I was, I think, 18 months old on. And so I really was fortunate to have two dads raising me. And my biological dad, like he would just walk in our house, like, hey guys, I'm here. Like it was a very healthy relationship with my mom. There's never any animosity. They never talked badly about each other. So I had very secure parents as far as that goes, like emotionally, and felt very loved at home. And even stepping outside, literally my front porch, I had Beth across the street, who was my person. I just loved hanging out with her. We just pretended and did all the fun things that kids do. And then my parents just started not really loving the way that the neighborhood was. It was kind of going downhill in their mind, in the kids' eyes. Like I didn't even think about that because all I cared about was, riding bikes with my friends and things like that. So they were like, we really would like to move you to a better place. So we moved to a suburb, and I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana. So we moved to a suburb in Indianapolis, and that's when everything changed. I still felt very secure at home, the kids in my neighborhood, I did not connect with. And, the only girl really, it was mostly boys who lived near me. And I had a boy cousin that I grew up with who was like a brother to me, and I'm only child. And it just didn't, I don't know, I didn't mind playing with boys, but there was just something missing. I just didn't ever feel that like community connection in this new place. And then when I went to school, same thing. Like, so it ended up creating this internal chaos inside of me to where it was like, wait a minute, why don't I belong here? Like, is something wrong with me? Like, I belonged at my other place. I felt good at my other school and at my home. Like, what's going on? And so I cried a lot as a kid. I got labeled a crybaby. I was teased for the way that I walk, because I walked on my tippy toes, and I had to teach myself to not. It was just the way that when I was a baby, I had a walker and I couldn't touch. And so it taught me how to walk like that. And so anyway, everybody just accepted it, in my old school, like no one really thought anything of it because I was very confident in who I was, and it never was an issue. And then all of a sudden at this school, I felt very vulnerable, didn't feel that belonging, even though I was in Girl Scouts, I was in softball, I was in basketball. Like my mom and dad tried to get me into all of these environments. And no matter what, because I was missing that security within myself and I hadn't connected and found my community in this new place, there was, yeah, just all this like a tornado inside of me. This is how I describe it to the girls. And so it really followed me all through school. And my mom did her best. Like my mom also struggles with her self-esteem, and like she didn't really know how to help me besides loving me, and she did the best she could at the time with the tools that she had. And yeah, and she loved me and told me to keep believing in myself, not to listen, to find my people. And it really took me until high school for me to find my small group of friends who I felt really safe with. And yeah, there were some girls sprinkled along the way who were nice and things like that, but I just always was just trying to figure out like, why am I not accepted? And I started believing all of those limiting beliefs, like I'm not good enough, I'm not as pretty, I'm not as popular, I'm not as smart, I'm not as, so I just kept, I think it was like you find what you look for. We know that. And so I was looking for evidence constantly and of that I didn't fit and I didn't belong. And so um, it really, even though I had found a group of friends that I felt really safe with in my early teens, I had this cousin who lived in Florida and I loved her. Her name is Mary Jo. She's a wonderful person even today. And she would tell me about her life, not in a braggy way, but just to fill me in on like how things have gone. She's a couple of years older than me. And I was just like, wow, she has a perfect life. Like she has a boyfriend, she has all these friends, like she has this kind of a lifestyle. And she was always kind to me, never put me down, but I just compared myself to her constantly. I'm like, why can't my life be like hers? And so, for whatever reason, when I was 15, we had come back from visiting her, and I knew that we had a gun for protection in our home. And I think the internal chaos had just gotten so strong within me that I started questioning my existence, if I should keep living, because would anyone really care besides my family? And so I knew where my dad kept this gun, and I found myself on the side of the bed, sitting with it in my hand, just contemplating life. Really, in my 15-year-old brain, I was like, would it matter if I still exist? And for whatever reason, my mom got this intuition, and she checked on me. She was like, I just feel like because looking at it now, I'm like, how did you know? And she's like, I just had this weird feeling. And she walked in on me holding the gun. And, she was like, oh my gosh, honey. I mean, I can't even imagine the horror that would, be as a parent. And she got me into therapy. I had to try a lot of different therapists to find the right fit. And I finally did. And it was this woman, and she was so warm and so wonderful. And she taught me personal development, really. I mean, she started teaching me how to believe in myself. And I got into dance classes, and that really became my passion. And I started performing on stage with my dance school. And it was never competitive or anything like that. But even being on a stage and performing a dance that you've learned, it takes a lot of courage and confidence. She even showed to one of my dance shows one time. And that just meant so much. I was like, wow, one adult, like one person who's not my mom or dad or family member, can really have an impact on kids' lives. And so it really inspired me to want to do that for other kids. And so I was like, how can I do that? And so I became a teacher. I went to school, did all my schooling and everything. I was like, I never felt even accepted by teachers in school. I always felt kind of judged because I cried a lot, and I was very sensitive and very deep feeler. And they're always like, I never remember anyone asking me if I was okay. It was always just like, come on, let's get your work done, things like that. And I'm sure maybe they did, but in my mind, like I never felt really taken care of and cared for at school. And so I wanted to be that person for kids. And so I did. I became that person, and I created safe environments in my classroom for kids. And I really prided myself on building relationships with my students and really helping them feel seen, and like I was there. I was their other adult in their life who was warm and caring and who would cheer for them and, help them through things. And that was so rewarding. So, but secretly, I still was kind of battling my own confidence, um, and just still trying to figure that out for myself. I could do it for other people, but I still just really needed that for myself. And so, fast forward through my teaching career, no matter where I taught, I started noticing these patterns in girls. I started kind of seeing myself in a lot of these girls, even though they were different from me. I was like, wow, girls just really need a little bit more support, as well, more than a little bit. Like they need a different kind of support. And so as I was teaching, I started learning this, that no matter if I taught in a very urban setting, same thing, suburban, private school, and then public school, like all the places. I never intended to teach in all these different environments, but life just led me in those places. And so then we got a really big shock when my dad got really sick. My stepdad got really sick, who had raised me from the time I was a baby, and he was diagnosed with brain cancer. And it was the biggest shock because he was such a bright light in the world and such a big kid and such just a cheerleader for me, um, and really helped me. Like he was one of those influential people in my life. And so he always like took fish oil pills, and he like was always watching his, he ate flaxseed on his oatmeal, and he was watching all of his, his cholesterol and taking his blood pressure and doing all these things. I'm like, how can someone like him, get so sick? And so I was like, I'm going to need support while I'm going through this with my dad. So my health had kind of gotten out of control, as far as like I gained a bunch of weight, and I wasn't really taking care of myself because I didn't know how to deal with all of it. And so I was like, I got to get a hold of this. So I joined this women's community, and it was all about healing, your body and your mindset. And I started learning personal development. It was clicking for me. And I was like, wait a minute. While my dad was actually sick, I was healing myself from the inside out. And then I was like, this might be the missing thing for girls. And so while my dad was battling glioblastoma, the type of cancer that he had, I found myself one night in his hospice room, and I just got this like big calling on my heart. And it was like, Melissa, you need to do something for girls. You need to create a space that's special for girls where they can learn these things and they can use it in their everyday life to help give them a sense of belonging, to help them know how to fight that internal chaos. Or even if they are confident, just to give them a positive place to be around other girls. And so I didn't know how or when or any of the details, but I was just like, holy cow, like I just got this huge calling on my heart. And yeah, and then as he passed and, grieving and going through all that, I developed this idea. And I was teaching fourth grade at the time. And so I approached my girls and I was like, hey, would you want to get together at lunch and um, do fun activities while I teach you about confidence and how to have good friendship and all these things? They're like, yes. So they did it. And it started as just a thing we did at lunch 1 or 2 times a week. And it grew into an after school activity I did. I got permission from my principal to try it out. I didn't know what it was at the time, but I did a pilot pretty much, and then developed it from there and went to another school within my district. And then just it evolved, and then COVID happened. So we went virtual, supported girls that way virtually. And then, and then once we were back in schools, then we've expanded and we now have 16 active clubs right now in the US and 2 in Africa.
It's so incredible, Melissa, like so many aspects of your story. And thank you so much for sharing, because even in the dark moments of our lives, those can often be the moments of beacons of light, right? Where you can reflect and say, I need support. I need help. And I love also where you found something that was working for you. A lot of times we think like, oh, I have to create something out of nothing. And it's like, no, this worked for me. Maybe this could work for younger girls, right? And at the end of the day, Melissa, and I know you and I are the same, like all of us, women and girls, our struggles are all the same, right? It might look different in different chapters of life, or depending on, different situations or different aspects of our lives, it might look different for different people. But really, like the confidence and courage and positive thinking, all of those things are things that all of us need, right? No matter what age we are, and community and support. And so I love that you've pulled these different threads throughout your life to pull together and say, all right, Girls Positivity Club, let's do this. And now it's just grown and evolved into this incredible nonprofit. The world tells women and girls that they don't matter, that one woman, one girl can't be a revolution. But that's not true. Every woman and every girl is a one girl revolution. Join the Every Woman, Every Girl campaign today by posting a video or graphic on social media telling us why you are a one girl revolution. Tag us, collab with us on Instagram, and shout out a woman or girl who inspires you. Tell us who is a one girl revolution in your life. Together, we are lifting voices, telling stories, and reminding every woman and girl who she really is. Follow along, share your story, and be a part of the movement. Because when every woman and every girl rises, the whole world changes. Join us today at onegirlrevolution.com. That's the number onegirlrevolution.com. So you said that you have 16 chapters around the world, and I know it continues to grow and evolve. Can you share just a little bit about the work of Girls Positivity Club and just kind of different aspects of the organization so people can get kind of a taste for the work that you do?
Yeah, so the way that we run is, and this has been an evolution, figuring out like what is this to what we are today. We serve girls in schools. So I tried to think about like what would be the least point of resistance of helping girls, find their community and really develop those stronger relationships, and also meet girls in their own school communities that they may have never even talked to before. Because we serve girls ages 6 to 14, and a lot of our elementary school clubs are multi age. So, for example, if you have a third through fifth grade club, the chances of a third grader even having any interaction with a fourth or fifth grader are very slim because you have different schedules and things like that. And so what the idea is that we bring girls together. Yes, they can be like ages, but we like to mix girls up too, to give them the experience of meeting girls that are in different stages of their life as well as a girl. And we teach them, we create a community. We have what we call a circle of yays. So we all meet, and that's our first thing we do in every club is we all go around and share a yay. And I got the idea of a yay from Megan Murphy, who is the editor of Women's Day magazine, from her book and from our conversations that we had had. I met her through a group, and I was like, "Hey, would it be okay if I call, this the yays, with the girls?" And she's like, "Absolutely." And so it evolved into the circle of yays. And so they just go around and share a yay because we believe there's always a yay in your day. No matter what kind of a day it is, you can find something good. And we always just pride ourselves on starting in that positive place. And then there's also space for the girls to share any challenges too. And they're normal things that girls go through, like, they might be tired or they might have a lot of homework or whatever it is, but they also have that space to share something a little bit more serious once they feel safe if they want to. And so it's a quick check-in to see where everybody's at, really. And we go into our lesson and teach them directly about, and that's where my teaching background comes in. I'm like, wow, this prepared me for all of it. So yeah, I wrote a whole curriculum. So any of the women who lead clubs, they're teachers and counselors, and we have a couple of parents that do it as well. They already, know how to teach, and we also provide training for those who, may need a little bit more support in that area. But yeah, they lead the clubs through the lesson, and then we do hands-on activities that are related. Sometimes they're games, sometimes they're arts and crafts, and just just bring it all together and make it true to the girls and make it something they can apply to their everyday lives. And so what we've noticed is the girls, what they really love is, obviously they love doing fun activities, and that's one of our core values, that is it does need to be fun, because who wants to go to a place where you just feel like you're going to more school? You want it to be fun and engaging and interactive. And so yeah, and so the idea is that they apply that to their daily life, and that they are able to see that they can be having a challenge, or they don't have to be. They can already be confident, but surrounding yourself with other girls and having that community to go to each week is a really powerful way to show girls that they're not alone, and that they can truly be themselves and be accepted. That was something that I really struggled with, is anytime I felt like I was myself, I was kind of judged for it, because I don't know, I acted weird or did something silly. And, I never really felt like I could let my guard down around a group of girls, like maybe a small group, but not like an entire, place. And so we always talk about inclusivity and how we always invite girls. We always say yes. We do these certain things. And, yeah, and the leaders that lead the clubs, like I said, are teachers and counselors. The majority of them, they really are empowered themselves, because then they see the ripple effect that they're creating in these girls' lives. And also, what I love about having an internal person running our program is that they're there. So even if the girl wants to connect with them further, like, it's not like it's a person who lives in a totally different place. They could stop by their classroom, or they could, they could connect with them on the daily if they needed to. And so it's just a really powerful way to build a community and also have positive impact on that specific school, to where that's the ultimate goal, right? Is to give girls the power to believe in themselves, to know they can do anything, and to support other girls, and also the tools to know how to work through challenges, and doing it in their own environment where they are every day is really important to what we do in Girls Positivity Club. And the girls actually named it Girls Positivity Club. So my very first girls, who are now in high school, they came up with the name. So it's even more special, and the logo and everything has evolved, but it started with those first girls. And so it's really important that the girls' voices are represented in everything that we do. And so we're always adapting and changing and improving our programming to make it really responsive to what girls need. And And yeah, and that's something I think that's really special. And what really sets us apart, I think, from other youth empowerment programs is, and they're all great, like every one of them has its, positives, and I would never, say differently, because I think everybody has their own way of doing things, and there can't be enough of us in the world, like empowering youth, and girls or boys, it doesn't matter. Like everybody needs this. Like even we do as adults. And so we go deeper is what is different about us. We go deeper and we can serve girls an entire school year. Whereas a lot of programs will do like a certain time frame and then that it's over. And or they'll do repeated programming. And so we're always trying to adapt and make the activities and the lessons still aligned with our values and with our pillars, but doing new things and taking new angles that are relevant to what the girls are, going through at that time. And like you said, we all need all of this. It's like you don't just learn about confidence one time. You're like, oh, got it. Every day of my life, I'm going to be completely confident no matter what, because we're always growing. We should always be growing, evolving. And Girls Positivity Club today is not what it was in 2019. And I never expect it to be the same. Like I always think that part of the power of being an organization that evolves with girls.
I think something to me that really sticks out about, or two things actually that stick out to me about Girls Positivity Club is you're really embedding that community in the school, right? Like you said, that girls could still always have that continuation, that support. There are different groups or events where it's like girls might go to, or anybody might go to, for young people. But I love that aspect of it, that it's really embedding that community. These girls see their friends or girls from the club around school. The person that's running it is embedded in that community. So if they need something when the club's not meeting, they have that support. But also, and this is a similarity between One Girl Revolution and Girls Positivity Club, I always say that One Girl Revolution has really been built by the women who are a part of this community. And that's really what you have with Girls Positivity Club, that things are going to change and the world is evolving and culture is evolving, but that we have kind of let go of control and like kind of let the organization be built by these girls that are going through the club and they're going to bring innovative ideas and things that we're disconnected from, like even with social media and TikTok, whatever, like how you can communicate with their generation is so different. And so it's really incredible to me what you've built and what the club has built, which all the girls who have gone through the club have built with you. Melissa, I know that there are so many stories that you could tell. You could write books and books about all of the women and all the girls who have come through. Because I think about even like the women that are volunteering their time to be a part of the club. I know that their lives are being touched by this club and they're being inspired and supported in different ways. And same with the girls that are going through the programming. But is there a story or two that you could kind of shine a light on that you feel like really illustrates the power of what you're doing?
Yes, so many stories. Um, so the one that stands out is Ariana. So Ariana started in Girls Positivity Club when she was in fourth grade, and she continued on, through several years. And the thing about Ariana is that she has really dealt with a lot of challenges within herself. So she has a very supportive family. What she struggled with was her learning disabilities, because school's really hard for her. So she has three different learning disabilities that she discovered. She kind of struggled through school up until fourth grade. Third grade, fourth grade is when they started doing testing to figure out what it was. And so she's very open about this. She talks openly about it as well. And I'll talk about like how she does that. But she has dyslexia, dysgraphia, and orthographic processing disorder. So basically, it's really hard for her to read and write. I mean, things get scrambled up. She misses certain things. And so it was really difficult for her to read, to write, I mean, she would do it, but it just was very difficult for her. And so that started really bothering her because she didn't know what was, these are her words, but she didn't know what was wrong. She didn't know why she couldn't learn like the other girls. And so she really struggled, and it started to really bother her, self-esteem and self-worth, and like, why can't I do it like these other girls? So then once they found out that she had these learning disabilities, her family was very open with her about it. And they're like, we're going to figure this out. Like, we're going to get you tools and things that you need. Well, right when she was figuring out like herself and like some of her challenges, her mom saw that I started Girls Positivity Club. It was one of our first groups. And she signed her up for it. And she was like, oh my gosh, this has been the missing piece. And so she right away was a standout leader. Like, she wanted to help the other girls. She spoke up and she felt safe enough to talk in the group and to do the activities. And I remember this one activity we did where like I had the girls balance a pencil, and I can't even remember like the whole thing of it, but I just remember her like being able to talk through like how you can work through challenges. And so she was learning how to manage her own challenges and build her confidence while she was going through it, kind of similar to me. And not realizing that I was like, wait a minute, this is all working together for my good. And so fast forward, like, she just learned how to work through anxiety. But she also then found out she was having a lot of anxiety because of all of her learning challenges. And yeah, and we taught her tools of how to work through anxiety. And one of my favorite things is that not only was she building her self-confidence and self-esteem while she was going through all of that, but she was a softball player as well. And there was a girl on her team who she noticed was almost like having a panic attack. And her mom texted me that night and said, you won't believe what Ariana did today. So she ended up teaching the girl how to work through all of her big feelings she was having in real time and applying it. So that is a direct, like, not only was she applying it to her everyday life and her own life, but then she was able to teach it to another girl. And then the mom was like, I cannot tell you like how special this is. And she's like, you know, she's having positive impact on other girls, and she just naturally did it. And so she was in our programs for several years. She did our clubs, and then we also do summer camps. And yeah, and she just always showed up and loved it, and just was one of the really first girls to go all the way through the program into middle school. And she even did small groups, like we did a little bit of small groups here and there, and some individual things. But she now is a sophomore in high school, and she volunteered actually at our Girls Positivity Club summer camps this year. And she talked openly with the girls about her struggles and how she worked through it, and how Girls Positivity Club helped her, almost like a living testimonial. And she was just talking to her about like how important it is even to be at the camp. Like, the camps are a week long, and they still can have very powerful impact because those girls are together all day for 5 days. And yeah, so she really is a testament to not only going through it, but then being able to apply it to another girl and to help another girl, and then to be a leader as a volunteer for our summer camps. So she has just come full circle. And so she's one of my favorite stories to tell.
The ripple effect of these stories and the ripple effect of these connections, right, that happen with these girls, and that she was able to go and help other girls. And that's something that we all carry throughout our lives. And so it's such an important aspect of the work that you're doing. And I'm sure that there are so many ripples that you will never even know about, right? And you will never even see. But to me, I think about the little things that we do in life can have those ripple effects. And so it's important for us to hear stories like that, to say like, oh, this is the power that the organization like yours, an organization like yours can have, and the work that you're doing, it can have this ripple effect. And also all of us have that power, right, to do the little things that can have a massive ripple effect or massive effect. Melissa, I know that you've grown and evolved so much, that Girls Positivity Club has grown and evolved so much, but this podcast is all about dreaming. So I want to dream with you for a second. In your dream of dream worlds, where do you hope that Girls Positivity Club goes from here?
I have so many dreams. My first dream is that it is a global It's a global organization, which it already is because we have some in Africa. But my big dream is to have Girls Positivity Club in every city and every school. If I'm really going big, every school, every city in the world. And I know that, for some people, they might think like, oh my gosh, that is so impossible. But even if we are in every country in the world or every state or whatever it is, like, I believe that there are so many ways that we can empower girls, and I believe that girls are really, we're all looking for that, right? We're all looking for that space where we can stand up and be like, yes, I can do that too. And I really think that there are going to be a lot more women leaders. I think there are going to be a lot more girls and women who are doing big things in their communities. And I always tell the girls, like, you don't have to wait until you're an adult to do something great. And like you said, to your point, it can be something small. You never know. Like, you can ask someone about their day and you don't know what they're going through. I mean, maybe if someone looks like they're a little bit sad, you can, it doesn't mean they have to tell you everything, but you can just be like, hey, I noticed you're a little bit sad. If you need to talk, I'm here. And if you don't want to talk, that's okay too. I just wanted to let you know that I see you. And I hope that whatever it is, gets better. Like, even saying something like that has a ripple. And I believe that it can change culture. Like, the more schools that we can get into, the more communities we can get into, the more we can help change culture for girls. Um, and my big dream too is to support boys as well. We have Boys Positivity Club that we are piloting right now at one school. And we've gone through this, we're on our second round of the programming. And we're really trying to fine tune, like, what kind of support do boys need as well? Because, they also are a different and unique population, to where, they need support and knowing that they can be vulnerable as boys, and they can be partners with girls, and they can be supportive and together as a unit. And so, um, and then I have dreams of supporting moms and supporting girls all the way through college, and even if they don't go to college, like in your young adulthood, because all of a sudden you're an adult and it's like, okay, what do I do? You don't know, your 20s, you're kind of trying to figure things out. And so, yeah, that would be, I can like tell you a million other things, but that would be my first dream, is for us just to continue to scale and expand, to where, yeah, we have teams of people that are running different parts of Girls Positivity Club, and I'm still very involved, but in who knows what kind of way. And then I also have a dream of having our own positive clothing line and shoes. So I have these shoes that are custom Girls Positivity Club shoes that I had made by a family member, actually, and they have positive, empowering words on them, like "you matter," and then these are all the words that girls can believe about themselves. And so I believe in creating products too that can help girls with their confidence. Like, I saw this video one time where it was like, you can write a positive message on the bottom of your shoe, and then even anytime you need to peek at it, you can look at it. And I was like, what if I could create shoes that would serve as a tool? So anyway, just different things. Like, I could do a whole clothing line, and I'd love to have a TV show where we're empowering girls, whether it's animated or realistic or whatever. So the sky's the limit. Like, I just want to help. I want to help as many girls, as many women, as many people as possible know that they're good enough, know that they can do anything, know that one person can create change. And it doesn't have to be a worldwide effect. I mean, that's my big dream to do. But yeah, even just like I said, doing one act of kindness can change someone's day. And like you said too, you never know the ripple that that can have on someone's life, of like, wow, someone really does see me, and I can do this, and that can change someone's whole day.
Yeah, there is so much work to be done, and you have accomplished so much. And I can't wait to see how Girls Positivity Club continues to grow and evolve, and even reaching those other demographics, right? I love that you're piloting this group for boys. And you're exactly right. Every single demographic needs this type of support and this type of community, whether it be moms or kids or, 20 somethings. And so I can't wait to continue to follow what you're doing. And I can't wait to continue to support and promote everything that you have going on as you continue to grow and evolve this incredible organization. Every woman, every girl. The world tells them they don't matter. but we know the truth. Every woman and every girl is a one girl revolution. Through the Every Woman, Every Girl campaign, we're telling powerful stories, lifting voices, and reminding women and girls everywhere of their worth, their purpose, and the power that they hold to change the world. But we can't do it without you. Your donation helps us share more stories, reach more women and girls, and change more lives. Join the movement today. Support the campaign. Donate at onegirlrevolution.com/donate. That's the number onegirlrevolution.com/donate. Because when every woman and every girl rises, the whole world changes. Melissa, for people that are listening, how can they support your work? And whether that be donating, volunteering, or maybe there are parents or teachers or mentors listening that want to get involved and want to bring the club to their school. Tell me all the different ways that people can get involved in your work.
Yes, thank you so much. I would say to get a club started in your community, in your school, we are always we are always launching clubs. So there is never a bad time to do it. So just reach out to me at Girls Positivity Club at Gmail. Yes, I still have a Gmail account. Like we're not super fancy yet, but yeah, just reach out to me and say, hey, I'd love to get a club started at my school, and I'll walk you through the process and how that goes. I do all the heavy lifting. It really is just letting me know what school and possibly connecting us with the school to get an introduction. And so that's one way to bring it to your community and your daughter or the girls in your lives' school. And then the other is we are always looking to get scholarships for girls, because we have two ways that, three ways really, that Girls Positivity Club happens. One is we could have a business or a person want to sponsor a club. And so then they would pay to have that club, happen. That's one way. Another way is parent registrations. So in some communities, we are able to charge a very fair registration fee. And so the parents can do that. But I've never wanted this to only be for people who can afford it or at a certain level of income. So the third way is to donate to help with a scholarship for a girl. And so, for example, at the event where Demre was and how I met her, I was able, the host was generous enough to let me come up and tell my story and tell the story of Girls Positivity Club. And then we actually did fundraising right then. And the women in the audience donated what they could. So some $10, some $100, some, an ongoing donation of a certain amount, but it all helps and it all adds up. And we were able to give 17 scholarships because those women were generous enough to believe in their younger selves and know that they would want to help the younger generation. And so, yeah, an entire club can be started now because of those girls' generosity. And I can offer it to families who don't have the funds and really want the support for their daughters. And so obviously we need funds to run as an organization and to keep everything going. And so, yeah, those would be the three ways. I also have a podcast called Raising Confident Girls. And it's just that if you were a parent or a caregiver of a girl and you want to have positive impact on their lives, I share different ways you can do that practically. And the reason that I came up with Raising Confident Girls is because my mom would have benefited so hugely from a free resource like a podcast to know how to support girls. And my mom just didn't know how. And so I was like, what would my mom have needed? So that's why I started the podcast. Was like, how can I give free information, give tools, give support to families who really just need that idea of maybe something they can do at home. So those are the main ways that you can connect with me. Besides that, social media, everything's Girls Positivity Club. So it's very easy to remember. And so, yeah, those are really great ways to connect with us.
I will put your website, all your social media links, all the different ways that people can get in touch with you. I will put a link to your podcast as well, so people can easily find that in the show notes. So I want to say that people can also just follow everything that you're doing and share it, because you never know, even if you're not, you're not able to start a club, maybe you know somebody who is willing to. And so we can all do something to follow and share on social media. You never know how it might impact somebody. We talked about the ripple earlier. You never know how the ripple effect may happen just by sharing. Melissa, we have this new campaign here at One Girl Revolution that I know I shared with you called Every Woman, Every Girl. And the whole mission behind it is that every single woman and girl is a one girl revolution. We all have the power to change the world through our lives. And we are changing the world every single day just by breathing, just by living, and just being who we are, who we were created to be. How do you see that truth that every woman and every girl is a one girl revolution play out in your life, in your world, especially as you encounter so many women and girls through the work that you're doing?
Oh man, I love this campaign so much. It's so powerful. So I love that you came up with this. I think it's in our everyday living. It's like you never know, like you said, you never know the little thing that you do that can have the ripple effect. And, I decided to do something about it in schools because that's where I really struggled and that's where I saw the need. And being a teacher, a former teacher of 23 years, like I know what it's like in the schools and I know the need. And so that's one way that, that I wanted to give back and to help support. And the girls in the clubs themselves, I have moms all the time just send me little messages like one of them said, I can't tell you how much, especially right now, this is helping my daughter because my husband and I were separated and we're trying to navigate like if we're going to stay together, if we're not. And she's been able to find a lot of joy even in coming to Girls Positivity Club each week because it's very confusing for her right now. And she's kind of trying to figure out in her 7-year-old brain, what's going to happen with my parents. And so I just wanted to let you know that it's been a huge support to her. So I'll hear things like that. And then I'll hear things like, a girl who is already confident but just wanted to be in a positive place and how it's helped her in her leadership. And so, a girl can even take it into her activity or sport to where, I had a girl who had gone through Girls Positivity Club and then she came back to volunteer in middle school and she really was carrying herself differently on the field when she was playing soccer. And her coach pulled her mom to the side and was like, she's already great, but what's going on? Like, what's different about her today and this week? And she was like, well, she's volunteering at Girls Positivity Club. And it's really, so I think just even in helping others helps you feel so confident and so good. It really helps to help others in whatever way you can. And yeah, and I think that we all can do that. Like I used to think I wasn't special. There was nothing special about me. And I think that's what got me to that dark place is like, would anyone even notice if I wasn't around? And it's like, yes, they would. Like everybody has their place. Everybody deserves to have their people and have a spot where they can belong and know that you don't have to be a perfect person, whether you're an adult or a kid. Like you can just be yourself and the people that you're supposed to be around will be like a magnet to you and you to them and you'll find your people. And sometimes it feels like you don't know when that's going to happen, but just continuing to show up as you are is, I think, one way to be your own one girl revolution because no one is alike and we're not supposed to be. And the way that you do things, even the way you talk, the way you interact with people, even just little things does make a difference and it helps you make your mark in the world.
You are empowering so many women and girls to find that spark, and to leave that imprint on the world. And I can't wait to also like follow all of the stories of the girls who are going through your programming and seeing where they end up and what they end up doing, because it just takes one person to believe in you sometimes and one person just to give you the space to support you. And you're really doing that every single day. Melissa, what advice would you give to women and girls who have a story or have a dream, have a story to tell or have a dream that they want to chase, but they don't know where to start? Would you have any advice for those women and girls?
Yeah, I think you just start with a little step and you just keep taking little steps. And before long, you start to build that momentum that really helps you figure out what that is. Because the Girls Positivity Club in the beginning, like I said, is not anything like what it is today because I didn't even know what it was. And so if I would have waited and just thought about every detail of it, it can become paralyzing. So I think it's really just taking the first step. And if you have to go a different direction, going that direction, just kind of following where it leads you, because you never know really what you're meant to do until you're doing it. And you start to feel these, it's just like when it's like when you feel like you're in a groove and you're like, wait a minute, this feels right. I feel like I'm on to something. Then I would say listen to that and just play around with what that could be, whatever it is. I know I'm being really vague, but I want it to be really universal because it can be about anything. And so just really not being afraid to try and also not being afraid to fail, because I hate like thinking about failure as like a total, because I think sometimes when people think of failing, it's like total failure, like you can't come back from it. But really it's how fast you can get back up and take the time you need. But I mean, I've made a lot of mistakes and I've had things go well and I've had things bomb, and it's like, okay, what can I learn from that? And so even though it may not feel good in the moment, even if something doesn't go well and you're like, wait a minute, I thought this was the thing that I was supposed to be doing, or this feels really right, why did it go wrong? I was like, well, maybe you have to try again a different way. And so it's really just figuring out all of those little steps along the way and not giving up. Because there have been lots of times I've even wanted to give up and I'm like, should I give up? Like, is this too hard? Is this dream crazy? And it's like, no, if it's something that's deep within you and you know it's your calling, it's your thing, it's your passion, that you just keep going and you just figure it out, you ask for help, you try something else, or you try it again and maybe it's better the second time, or maybe you talk to someone different and they give you a different perspective on whatever. So I think it's just continuing to move forward, even if you get knocked down, to get back up and just to keep listening to your inner voice and figuring out what that is. And you never know what is going to evolve from just doing those simple things.
Such great advice. And on a little bit of a different note, what about women and girls who might feel lost or are searching for their purpose? Or I'm thinking back to you as that little girl who just felt unseen and didn't know, that she mattered in this world. I know that there are women and girls, we all struggle with that, throughout our lives at different moments. But what advice would you give to a woman or girl who's kind of going through that chapter right now?
I would say to talk to someone about how you're feeling, because that really helped me. And not that it necessarily has to be therapy or anything like that. Like it really helped me, but I think not being afraid to talk about it and to find the people that make you feel good more than they don't. So to be around people who are energizers, who are, sometimes that takes a while. Like I'm working with a girl right now and she's at a new school and she just hasn't found her people. And it's really hard. And there can be a time when you feel a little bit hopeless, but it's like, no, you have to keep reminding yourself that you do have a special quality within you, even though it doesn't feel like it just feels normal. You are going to find your people, and just to keep trying and keep talking to people about how you're feeling and know that you're not alone, because everybody's felt like that. Like you said, like we've all felt like that at some point. And it's like you just have to continue to try different things and just be open about how you're feeling and know that there are people who can support you and you will find your place. And that's really why we have Girls Positivity Club and why you have One Girl Revolution, is to show them that their stories matter. And there are always people who do care, and to spend more time focusing on those people in your life, even if they're family members, than the ones who aren't making you feel good and who are tearing you down. And just to continue to tell yourself you can do it. Because one thing that we also say in Girls Positivity Club a lot is you have to be your own cheerleader, even when it's hard. So thinking about a cheerleader is like they cheer even when their team is losing, or even when, things aren't going well. And it's like you never see a cheerleader on the sideline like going like, boo, you're terrible, and things like that. So it's like we have to be that person for ourselves, even when it feels hard. Even just telling yourself when you wake up in the morning, you can do this. Or looking at yourself in the mirror and being like, I believe in you. And as silly as that sounds, or cringy, or whatever, the kids say, those things matter because you are always with yourself. And the more you can pour into yourself as well, and tell other people how you're feeling and get that support around you, even if it's with one person, with a teacher, with a counselor, with a friend, with an auntie, with whoever the person is, there is someone out there to support you, and you do matter, and you can do amazing things. Just keep going.
We all need that support. We all need that community. And we also need to, like you said, be our biggest cheerleaders. And it's amazing the power of words, and even the words that we tell ourselves in our head that we don't even speak, but the words that we speak to ourselves. It's so important for us to just, yeah, tell ourselves, whether it's looking in the mirror or just thinking about like our purpose, our value, our gifts, our talents, right? To see that we're all as unique as our fingerprint, and our mission is that unique. So,
I
Melissa,
love that.
you are a one girl revolution, and that's why I wanted to have you on this podcast. But who is a one girl revolution in your life? Who is a woman or girl that inspires you?
Oh man. I mean, the girls, obviously, in Girls Positivity Club, all the ones that I get to meet, they inspire me, and just seeing their faces. And I always tell them, like, you, you were in my imagination. Like, this is something I imagined in my mind, and I made this happen for you. And so you inspire me to do this work. And so it's the people, it's the girls. And then also just, it's such an honor for all these teachers and counselors to stand up and say, I want to help too. And yeah, and I think about all the people growing up, like, I had a favorite aunt she's still around. She's in her 70s, and she's always been the biggest cheerleader. She's always just had such a special way of pouring into me. And she saw when I was struggling, and she would pick me up, and we'd do like little car parties, and she would drive around, and we'd go get an ice cream, and I don't know, she would just make things fun and make me feel so much better than when I had gotten in her car. And I think it's too just noticing people. And I think when people do that for you, it's like, wow, I can be that for someone else too. And so, yeah, my mom obviously too has been, I mean, she saved my life, and she still is such a big impact on my life. And all the women I get to meet, like, there's so many. So it's hard for me to pick one, but yeah, that would be the messy answer.
Yeah, no, I love it because also there are so many one girl revolutions in our lives, and it's so important for us to recognize that and see them and give them shout outs, right? And I know that affirmation is a big part of the work that you're doing too for these girls to see, that they matter and that they're changing the world every single day. Melissa, the last question that I always end this podcast on, and I'd like to ask you, if you could leave women and girls around the world with one message, what would it be?
I would say that they matter no matter where they come from, that they matter, that their life matters, that they deserve to live and to feel loved, and to help themselves feel that way as well. I think that was my biggest struggle growing up, is like knowing if I did matter, because I didn't know if I believed it myself. And so I would want every girl to know that they do matter, and they don't have to be a celebrity, and they don't have to be doing amazing things in the world. They don't have to be the star athlete or the best artist or the best singer. They matter simply for being themselves and for being who they are. And I think that is the most powerful thing, is to know that you belong and matter in the world.
Melissa, you are such a beacon of light. I'm so grateful to know you, to get to share your story, your incredible work with our audience. Like I said, I will put your website, all your social media links, the link to your podcast so people can easily get in touch with you. But Melissa, thank you so much for being on the One Girl Revolution podcast. Thank you for everything that you do, and thank you for everything that you are.
Thank you for what you do. I love how you amplify women's stories and girls' stories, and just show that, like you said, we all have a unique fingerprint, and we all make our mark on the world. And so thank you as well for the work that you do and for having me on the show.
For more from One Girl Revolution, to listen to all of our podcast episodes, watch our Emmy-nominated documentary series, follow us on social media, donate to our nonprofit organization, and more, please visit onegirlrevolution.com. That's the number onegirlrevolution.com.